welcome back to my channel. Thank you for watching and for subscribing. And if you're just visiting, please consider subscribing. So today is a very exciting video. First, I'm going to share with you a small haul, and then we're going to pretend like we're finally able to travel and choose fragrances for different trips. And the reason I combined these two things into one video is because one of the fragrances that I'm going to share with you, I'm going to take with you on one of these imaginary trips. But more about that a little bit later. Let's start with the haul. So I have two fragrances to share with you, both of which were kindly sent to me by skinstore.com. Now, I have been familiar with this site or this store for quite some time, but I always assumed that they sold, skincare, hair care, possibly cosmetics, but as it turns out, they sell fragrances as well. The other thing that I didn't know was that they actually ship to Canada, which is really exciting because there are so many companies out there that don't ship to Canada. And if any of you are interested to shop on their website, I do have a 25% discount code, which I'm going to put in the description and on the screen as well. So let's take a look at what fragrances I received. Now, I can't remember if I mentioned this in a video before or not, but whenever new fragrances arrive, my daughter absolutely loves opening the packages with me. And when she saw the first fragrance, I had absolutely no chance of keeping it in my collection. She loved it so much and wanted it so much that I had to give it to her. And you will understand in a moment why. So this fragrance is from a brand that I have never tried before called Anna Sui. And the fragrance that I got is Fantasia Mermaid. So this is kind of giving you an idea right away. This is the box. Now I took the fragrance out of the box already. So here's the bottle. This is the most whimsical fragrance bottle I have ever seen. I mean, it's a mermaid. It's an actual mermaid. So you can understand why she was so excited to have it. And of course, I couldn't resist. I had to give it to her. And scent-wise, it kind of makes sense because this is a very light, girly, easygoing, inoffensive type of scent. So the main notes in here are blood orange, cardamom, lychee, peony, jasmine, honey, vanilla, white wood, and it's just a really light, fruity floral. Like I said, very inoffensive, very easygoing, very girly, and she has been absolutely loving having this fragrance and can't stop staring at the bottle. Now, the second one that I got, I'm definitely keeping in my collection, and this is from a house that, again, I've never tried any fragrances from, and this is from by Terry. So here's the box, beautiful, very heavy box. The fragrance that I got is Soleil Piquant. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. So again, very heavy, very sturdy box. And there was a nice surprise when I opened the box because, as you can see here, there is a full bottle and there is also a travel spray, which I didn't realize there would be a travel spray as well. So let me take it out of the box. So what is this fragrance about? Let's look at the notes first. So we have orange blossom, almond blossom, iris, bergamot, cactus, vanilla, patchouli, vetiver, woody notes. And this is definitely a summery fragrance. I think it's perfect for hot weather. It has beachy vibe, like fragrances, Soleil Blanc from Tom Ford or Holidays from Mancera, that kind of beachy, slightly suntan lotion kind of vibe. But this one leans more, I would say, floral. And overall, that suntan lotion note or accord or vibe, whatever you want to call it, it's not as pronounced here. It is much lighter. overall, I feel like the fragrance is more elegant, more sophisticated. Because it's more floral with a touch of citruses, this could easily be worn to an office. The scent is not very strong. It is definitely on the lighter side. And I would say the lasting power on me is about maybe 3.5, 4 hours, which is, you know, what I would expect from a fragrance like this. But I really, really enjoy it. I've worn it a few times already at home. Obviously, I wouldn't wear it outside in this weather, but I have worn it at home a few times and I really enjoyed wearing it. So again, this is Soleil Piquant from by Terry. So thank you skinstore.com for sending these fragrances to me. And now let's move on to the second half of this video, which is fragrances for travel. And I know that most of us, if not all of us, haven't been able to travel in almost a year, but eventually we will be able to do that again. And so why not be prepared and pick out our fragrances ahead of time? I'm kidding, of course, but I think it's nice to pretend and to imagine that when we're going to go on these trips, these are the fragrances that at least I would take with me. And I didn't choose specific countries because when I started thinking about it, there were too many that I wanted to choose. So instead, I kind of chose different regions of the world that I would like to visit and what fragrance I would like to take with me on each trip. So first, let's talk about traveling to Europe. And I divided this into two parts, Western Europe and Eastern Europe, because to me, they're quite different. So let's start with Western Europe. The fragrance that I would like to take with me is Poets of Berlin from Vilhelm Perfumery. I mean, I think the name had something to do with it, and the fact that this fragrance was inspired by the time that David Bowie spent in Berlin, and I think he created several albums during that time. So obviously, you know, Germany and Berlin are part of Western Europe, so that kind of inspired me to choose this fragrance. But this has blueberry, bamboo, vanilla, lemon, and orris. And this is a really interesting and I think somewhat complex fragrance, even if the notes might seem quite simple. But to me, it is somewhat complex because it goes through several development stages, at least on my skin. But overall, when I think about this fragrance in the final dry down, which is obviously the longest stage of the fragrance, it really smells like melted vanilla ice cream covered with blueberries and maybe a little bit of sugar. It is sweet, but not too sweet. It is fruity, but not too fruity. It is such a beautiful fragrance, and I've chosen it for my trip to Western Europe. Next, we have Eastern Europe, and I think some of you, or maybe many of you by now, know that originally I am from Eastern Europe, and the fragrance that I have chosen is a whiff of a waffle cone from Imaginary Authors. And the reason I chose this is, of course, because this fragrance smells like walking into an ice cream shop or eating ice cream in a waffle cone. And when I was growing up, one of my favorite desserts was eating ice cream in a waffle cone. That was one of the best things that I remember eating as a dessert. And this fragrance definitely reminds me of that. So that's why I've chosen it for my trip to Eastern Europe. Next, let's talk about Asia. And again, I think my choice here is somewhat predictable, probably because I went with Armani Privé Pivoine Suzhou. There is something so elegant and so understated about this fragrance. So, of course, the fragrance is mostly about peony, but some other notes in here are rose, raspberry, orange, pepper, and musk. And This is a very gentle peony. It is slightly sweet. It has a little bit of musk. It has a little bit of rose, but it has this sparkly champagne-y quality. This is how I would describe it. It is definitely understated, and it is definitely inoffensive. And when I think about traveling to Asia, right away I think about a fragrance that should be light, definitely not a beast, but kind of a gentle, airy type of scent. And this one is definitely like that. Next, let's go to Central or South America. So obviously going there, I'm right away thinking about some kind of beach vacation, and this is where I'm going to take Soleil Piquant with me because, like I said at the beginning, this has a beachy vibe. This is, again, light. This is very happy. This is kind of easygoing, and that's why I think for a trip to a really hot country or sitting on a beach enjoying the sun, I would want to smell like this. So next trip I would like to take is to Australia. And to be honest with you, one of the places that I've always wanted to visit the most was Australia. I wanted to go there for the longest time, but I've never been so far. Hopefully one day. But when I was thinking about Australia, for some reason, I think about, again, something really fruity, light, very happy, very chill, very easygoing type of scent, inoffensive, that you can wear anywhere and everywhere. And so I've chosen a fragrance that I haven't spoken about in a really, really long time, but I still have it in my collection and I do enjoy it. This is L'Imperatrice from Dolce & Gabbana. Obviously, this fragrance has issues with lasting power. Yes, it doesn't last long, but it's a fairly inexpensive scent in a large bottle. So I just, whenever I want to use it, I just cover myself in it. So this has watermelon, strawberry, has some florals and some musk, but overall, it really smells like freshly cut watermelon. I absolutely love this type of smell. I enjoy watermelons in general, and when it's a really juicy, just cut watermelon, I just love it. And this makes me think of that. And for some reason, again, these are very subjective opinions. To some of you, these choices might not make sense at all, but these are the fragrances that I thought of when I thought about traveling to these different places. So again, I will take L'Imperatrice from Dolce & Gabbana on my trip to Australia. And the last trip that I would like to take is to the Middle East. And the fragrance that I would take with me is Fera from Brecourt. This is a fragrance that really, I think, doesn't get enough love on YouTube. Very few people talk about this one, but it is such a beautiful fragrance. This has cinnamon, dates, honey, tonka, patchouli, labdanum. So you can see by some of these notes, I think, why this immediately makes me think about Middle East. This really smells like something very sweet, some kind of Middle Eastern dessert with lots of cinnamon and maybe even some other spices and some dried fruits in it, maybe dates or whatever other dried fruits are there. It has a touch of honey, so it's just really sweet Middle Eastern dessert. That's what I get of it. It has a touch of smoke, maybe from labdanum, I'm not sure, but very beautiful fragrance that doesn't get enough love. So Brecourt from Fera is my choice for traveling to Middle East. So there you go. These are my choices for now, imaginary trips all over the world, and a haul of 2 fragrances that I received from skinstore.com. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you soon in my next video. Bye!